mercy. Hey. Ooh, skin looking good. Ooh, skin looking good. Okay, hey you guys. So I just finished up at work. I know you can see me back here with my ugly water bottle. Like, my background is not cute. I told you guys, don't come to this page for the aesthetics. That's not what this is. Okay, let me move this. I'm trying to be cute for y'all though. I'm trying to be a little bit like, okay, that's better. Okay, who cares? Not me. You can see me back here, but fuck it. So today, I just got done at the salon, but I really wanted to film this for you guys. I had a different plan for this week's vlog, but I really want to film this for you guys because I get a lot of requests on it. And I'm so busy this week that I don't know if I'm gonna have time to edit the other vlog. So I'm like, why not give you guys this one because I don't have to spend like hours editing. So I really want to talk about my journey with weed, with Miss Mary Jane. A lot of people always, if you follow me on Instagram and you have over the years, a lot of people are always like so curious about my opinions on weed. So that's what I'm gonna give y'all. I want to kind of give you like the whole story. I got color all over me today. There's like blue color on my pink pants. But yeah, I want to give you guys like the whole rundown, like how I got into weed. This video mainly is going to be about why I quit smoking, because I quit smoking weed like I don't even know how long ago. It's had to have been at least 2 months. Life has been so crazy the past year, and especially the past like 3-4 months. So I don't know exactly how long it's been. It might actually be longer than 2 months. It might have been like 3 already, but it's been quite a while. And so yeah, I did quit smoking weed, but I just want to kind of give you guys the full rundown of like how I got into it, my opinions on it, and why I quit. So first things first, I actually got into weed because my roommate in college was like a heavy weed smoker. Both of my best friends in college were heavy weed smokers, but when I discovered weed, it like saved me. So for those of you who don't know, I am a recovering addict. I had a drug and alcohol problem. And so weed was incredible. Like, weed saved my life. And I think there's so many benefits to marijuana. With that being said, I think it is heavily abused, just like any other drug. And I think anything can be done. I think anything can be an addiction, like even good things. Like, you can drink too much water and die. You know, people that are like working out 3 times a day, I don't think that's healthy. I think anything that's done overkill, even if it's good things, like addiction is addiction. And I believe, my personal opinion, so if you're offended, that's okay, because you're allowed to have your opinions and I'm allowed to have mine. I believe that addiction is addiction, and it's simply just an escape from your reality. So like I said, even if you're like obsessed with eating healthy, or obsessed with working out, or obsessed with yoga, whatever it is that's a good thing, I do believe everything can be done way too much. And it's like the same as a bad addiction. Like, you're just essentially trying to escape reality and not feel your feelings or not deal with your reality. So I want to preface by saying I'm not a doctor, okay? This is just my experience. This is just my opinions and beliefs, and that's that. So yeah, I was introduced to weed by my roommate, and I can actually count the number of times it took me before I even got high. It took me 17 times before I ever actually experienced the feeling of being high from weed. I don't know why that is. I have no idea what the reasons, but I literally tried to smoke 17 times. And on that 17th time, that's when I knew what being high was. And that weed saved me. Like, weed is the reason that I was able to start coping with the drug and alcohol problem. I obviously didn't quit the drug and alcohols when I started smoking the weed, but it did help me so much to cut back on addictions. It helped me with so many things, mental and physical. We all know the positive benefits of marijuana. Like, I don't think we need to get into that. All of us smokers can rave about the benefits of weed. But this past year of my life, I have just noticed, like, I feel like I get to a certain state in my mental, or my frequency, if you want to call it, and then I feel like it drops me back down. I feel like sometimes, like, I was getting to a point where I was smoking so much weed that I didn't even know if I was high or not. And I was smoking like an ounce a week or like 2 ounces a week. And oh baby, that is not healthy. Let's be realistic, like that is not healthy. So I know when I have a problem, like I've done enough therapy and I'm self-aware enough. I'm almost self-aware, like, to a fault. So I knew that I was smoking too much when it was just, I was smoking so much. Part of that is because, like, the relationship that I was in. So I was in a relationship for like 10 months this past year. That ended like months ago. But that was kind of part of the reason that it started getting so bad again, because at first I would just do it like in the morning once and at night once, just to wind down and help me relax. Like, it was kind of like a little treat. And then I got into a relationship with someone where like they were doing it all day and then I was doing it all day because we were together all day. And it was just easy. It was right there and he was always rolling up, and so I wasn't gonna say no. So then a few months ago, I would say like the past 4 months, and for the past year really, like I just would go on cleanses. Like I would do it a bunch, but then I would take like 4 weeks off, or I would take 8 weeks off, because weed is just so accessible to me. I have friends that grow and will just give me bags of it. Like, it was to the point where like I didn't even need to spend money on it. But that's when I knew I had a problem, and I tried to do everything in the book. Like, I tried to space it out. I would try to like put it in the little like medicine thing, like that you put pills in, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But oh baby, that didn't work. Okay, I know where the weed is. I'm just gonna get more of it. So that didn't work either. And so basically I would just use it as I please, but then I would go on breaks and I would cleanse for like a month or 2 months, and then I would go back to it. But every time I went back to it, I just had no control. Like, if it's sitting there, I'm gonna do it. And then, like I said, I feel like I would do it, and then I would be so good because I was always high and I felt so good. But then I do feel like I was kind of just stuffing my emotions away, because then I would just hit a point where I would just like lose it, and I would just start crying for like 3 days, because it was like all the smoking was just like compacting the emotions, and then I would just let it out. And I don't think that's stable or healthy to like be up and down like that all the time. And so yeah, about 2-3 months ago, actually, as I've been getting like more booked with my music, I did notice like in my voice I wasn't able to hit certain notes or like go into my soprano voice because of the smoking, because I wasn't just smoking clean, because for a certain amount of time I was smoking just papers, but then I was like addicted to backwoods because I love tobacco, and I just love tobacco, and tobacco and weed mixed together is it's so good. Like, it's so good. So I'm sure like the backwoods were probably hurting me worse than the weed, because it's so terrible for your voice and for your lungs. And so I got this opportunity with music that I still haven't told you guys about. And that's when I was like, okay, if I really want to do this music thing for real, and I'm about to be like singing in front of huge crowds of people and performing consistently, like I cannot be smoking like this all the time. Like, I want to be the best that I can be, especially in my singing career. Like, that is my dream. That is my ultimate end goal, is to be making a living from my music career. And I just really wanted to show the universe that like I'm serious about it. So yeah, I just quit cold turkey, because I feel like, especially like the past 6 months, I have been smoking to the point where, like I said, I just don't even know if I'm high anymore. And then I was smoking and it wasn't doing anything. Like, it was like God was like enough. Like, God was trying to just tell me enough. Like, you don't need this crutch. Like, you have done the work. You have learned the coping skills to deal with your reality, the lows and highs. So what part of it was the music, but part of it was just like I knew God and the universe was telling me like you don't need this, and so I stopped getting high. So yeah, I just quit, and I've never felt better. I've never felt more like mentally clear. I don't even really crave it. I think I was smoking more so for like the ritual of it, like the muscle memory, and like rolling up was like a ritual for me. You know, I do it before I would leave the house, before I would record, before I go to work, like before I take my bath, like when I wake up in the morning, before I do my yoga. Like it is a ritual for me. And it was kind of like a sacred spiritual experience. So I learned that it was more so that I was like enjoying and craving versus the actual feeling of being high. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. So yeah, like I quit cold turkey and I've never felt better. I feel so clear-headed. I feel like my diet is better because I was also smoking before I went to bed. I was smoking before I ate a meal. Like I like needed it to go to bed and I needed it to eat. Or I was telling myself that, and then that was like becoming the truth. So now I feel like my diet is better. Like I don't need it before I eat. I naturally get hungry 3 times a day. And I feel like I'm actually enjoying my food to the fullest that I can and also digesting it to the fullest that I can. And same with sleeping. Like my dreams have come back super vivid. A lot of people complain about not dreaming, and I do believe weed smokers and anybody on drugs, and alcohol is a drug, I do believe that is a huge reason people don't dream. So I've noticed like my dreams have come back full force and they're vivid. I remember them, and I feel like I'm actually hitting REM sleep. Like I'm actually resting at night. Because you know how it is when you wake up and you could sleep like 12 hours and you wake up more tired than you did when you went to bed. So I feel like I'm sleeping better. I feel like I'm working out better. I'm eating better. And not just that I'm doing those things better, but I'm actually like more consistent with them. So yeah, just all around, I feel like I have more energy. My lymph, I don't wake up with like my lymph swollen all the time. My allergies went away. So again, a lot of it I'm sure was the tobacco, but I do think a lot of it was the weed too. And I also just think like as weed has become legalized, I don't know if weed's legal everywhere, but in Arizona, it is legal. And so as it's become more accessible, I do believe like it is being poisoned, just like our food and water. Like, I'm sorry, once the government gets its hands on something, it's not to the purest of its state, like, period. That's with anything. So I do believe that weed is becoming, like, I just think that weed is becoming not pure anymore. I believe that there's other chemicals that people are mixing in with it and all types of things. And it's like, how will we ever know unless you're growing it yourself? Like, you'll never really know. And I'm not about to have a weed farm in my apartment. Like, we're not doing all that. That's excessive. So yeah, I've never felt better. I've never felt more clear-headed. And also I feel like I have never felt this emotionally clear in my life. And by that, I mean like I feel like I'm actually like handling and coping like right away in my, like to my best ability. Like I don't really know how to explain that in words, but you know, if I'm going through something, because life is gonna happen. Like I don't care how much money you make, how pretty you get, how much success you get, how many amazing relationships you get. Life is gonna life. People are gonna die. Sickness happens. Like things happen. Life happens, and there's things you can't control. And so when I do go through like traumatic things or low emotions, I just feel like I handle them so good. You know, like for example, I had to put my cat down last Friday. And I processed that better than I've ever processed any type of low in my life. Like, I laid there, I cried about it as long as I needed to cry about it, which was a good 12, 24 hours. And I'm good. Like, I grieved in that moment, and I know if I would have had weed, it would have been a crutch. Like, I would have been smoking the weed to help me, like, process through that or to escape the mental pain or the physical pain and stress. And I feel so good about it. Like even just me being able to fluidly speak about it. I am a crybaby, and if I would have been like smoking weed, I don't feel like I would have been I would be sitting here like crying about it. And the fact that I can just like so fluidly talk about it, that's huge for me. Like that in itself is growth for me. So yeah, like I said, that's kind of what I mean by feeling like clear. I feel like I'm actually like emotionally handling things rather than just like stuffing them down. So I believe like weed is just like anything else, just like the working out and the tarot cards and all these other practices that are beneficial to us. Those are just simply tools. And I do believe like the point for me in this existence, the point of my healing journey is in the process. And like one of my end goals with the process is to get to a point where I don't need a single thing. I don't need like to call someone to vent to get through it. I don't need to pick up the weed. I don't need to go work out. I don't need to drink or party or escape. Like it's sitting with it and feeling it and really processing right there as I'm going through it. Not running to work, not running to the money, not running to men, to friends, whatever it will be, positive or negative. Because I'm also kind of getting out of the idea of like this duality obsession in the spiritual community and the people that are into the things I'm into, like law of attraction and all the things that I'm into. Like I don't see life the same way. I'm kind of getting more into like the gray of things, and I'm getting out of the labels of like black and white and good and bad. And so yeah, I'm just learning to really sit with who I am. And my goal is to continue to just keep shedding and shedding and shedding and unlearning and throwing away every thought and belief and ailment and everything to get to more of me. Like who am I underneath the programming, underneath the labels, underneath like female and singer and entrepreneur and salon owner. So it's, you know, it's not to say that I'll never smoke again. I'm sure I'll smoke again. I'm sure I'll like pick up some weed here, you know, one day here and there. But for now I don't want it and I don't crave it. And yeah, I just think if I do use it, like I probably literally wouldn't buy it. Like it would probably be like someone smoking in the room and I feel like celebrating, and so I'm gonna do it. So yeah, I feel like the most clear I've ever felt in my life. I have been sober from any other drug and alcohol for a long time. I did relapse on alcohol this past year, which is like a whole other story. So maybe I'll do like another story time, or maybe I should just talk about like, I don't know if I'm ready to talk about all that. I did relapse on alcohol this year because, you know, I was, again, like this relationship, I was like put back into that environment. And at first you're like in the club and you don't need anything. And then pretty soon you're like sipping on a few drinks. And then pretty soon, a few months later, you're throwing shots back like it's nothing. So I just have an addictive personality, and I know that about myself, and it's in my DNA on both sides of my family. There's history there, and so I'm that way with anything, like even good things, like, and that's why I'm just trying to be very conscious of doing anything I'm doing, even good things, to a point where it's like an addictive thing, because I don't want to be that way. Just experience life in those ebb and flows without having to like be obsessed with a schedule, whether it's good or bad. So yeah, I did relapse on alcohol, but before that I was sober for like 2 years. So like I'm really disappointed in myself, but I'm working on forgiving myself for going through that relapse. But other than that, I had been sober for 2 years from alcohol. So I really would like to be able to be free of alcohol and weed, because those are both drugs, for as long as I possibly can. So yeah, like I'm celibate right now. I'm sober, more sober than I've ever been. And it feels good. I feel clear and I feel free. But it's hard, like it is hard because I'm finding it really hard to like connect with people. A lot of my friends, like, just like how you connect with people over like partying or alcohol, I also really connect with people, I'm realizing, only over weed. Like there's people that I have not heard from ever since I stopped smoking weed, because that's what we would do. Like we would just come over and smoke and talk about life. and now that I haven't smoked, they kind of like disappeared. So I am struggling to find like other relationships, and that's the hardest part about it. You know, like being my age, I feel like I'm still young, and it's just so hard to find people my age that want to do things I want to do. Like I want to go to a pottery class, I want to go have a picnic, I want to like go see a museum, I want to go try new food spots, and I'm just finding it really hard to like connect with other people my age that can do those things without substances. Like I know there's people that will go do those things with me, but they like need to drink to go do it, or they want to drink to go do it. And so it's just like harder to connect. So that's like the number one thing, is it's just really hard to find other people that want to do anything without like a substance. So that's probably the biggest challenge. Like it's not even that I'm tempted to do it, it's that I literally feel like an alien. Like sometimes I feel like I'm not a human. Like I just look around and everyone is like numbing themselves. And again, I'm not judging you if you're on substances or if you smoke weed. Like I have been there, okay? I have been an addict. I've been homeless. I've had an alcohol problem. It's not that I'm judging you just because I believe you're numbing yourself. It's coming from a place of love because I've been there. Numbing is numbing, okay? If you're needing to smoke every day, you're numbing yourself. If you need to have sex every day, you're numbing yourself. It's no different than any other addiction, whether it's food, sex, working out, anything good or bad. Like I said, addiction is addiction. That's my beliefs. That doesn't mean I'm shaming you, because those are my beliefs. So yeah, like I'll probably get backlash for saying some of this, but it is what it is. I don't mind. So yeah, the biggest thing is just like finding people that I can relate to, because then the other people that I do relate to, like I've got a lot of friends that they don't do that all the time, and we do have a lot in common, but they're married with kids, and like that's cool, but like that's hard for me too, because I'm not in a relationship and I don't have children, and I want that one day, but I don't always want to like go hang out with the family and feel like the fifth child, you know, because sometimes that's what it feels like. Like I feel like I'm literally like the extra child, or I'm like auntie, and I love that. Like that's cool too, and I want those things too, but I can't find that balance. Like it's one extreme or the other. It's either like my party friends, or it's my married couple with kids friends, and I just can't find the Abbies. Like I can't find other people that are just like living the same experience or like on the same timeline as me. And so I'm enjoying my solitude, and it gets lonely, but I love my solitude. I love my alone time, and so I'm okay with it. I would rather be alone than there's nothing worse. Like we all know how it feels to be in a room full of people, even if you really love them. We all know how it feels to be in a room full of people and you feel more alone than when you're with yourself. That's like the worst feeling. And that's how I'm feeling more and more when I'm around people, even though I love them and I connect with them. That's how I feel like when I'm around people that are either like married with kids or they're like having to drink or smoke. I'm sitting there and I feel like I am just like an alien. Like I just don't feel like I fit in because everyone's masking, or I just can't relate. I can't relate to the people that are married with kids. I love kids. I've experienced kids in many facets. I get along with kids more than adults, but I'm not married. I don't have kids. So I can't relate. We can only relate on so many things. So yeah, that's like probably the biggest struggle. Just like I do feel probably the loneliest I've ever felt in my life, but it's not a sad lonely to where I'm like yearning or craving affection, because I feel like I give that to myself. Like literally I do everything alone. If I want to try something new, if I want to try a new restaurant, if I want to go try a new thrift store, if I want to like go do something for the first time, I want to go to a pottery class for the first time, like I'm gonna just go do it. And I love that. Like I literally talk to myself all day long. I do everything alone. So I love the relationship I have with myself. So you know, I'm not lonely in the sense of like I'm yearning for or craving for relationships. It's more so just like lonely to where you kind of start to feel a little bit crazy. Like, am I the only one? Like, it does make you feel a little bit crazy in a society where a lot of people are codependent, and codependency is not always a bad thing. Like, I believe we're supposed to be like dependent on each other. Humans need humans. So I don't pride myself either on like being able to be alone, because that can be dangerous in itself, because you get so comfortable being alone that you don't need other people. Like, when I've gotten to where I've gotten alone and I can do it alone and I've done it alone, that can be very dangerous because I don't need anybody else. And so I'm very careful to like check my ego and make sure I don't pride myself on that, because do not want to be Miss Independent. I do not want to be that girl that's like, I don't need a man, I don't need friends, I can do this on my own, because there's a lot of people like that too. Like, there's a lot of men and women, and I'm like, oh, that's not cute, because that's cap. Humans need humans, okay? Like, just because I don't have friends to call to help me with something or to do something, like, I still have to call someone to help me hang my chandelier. I have to call someone to help me hang my cupboards. Like, humans need humans. I just unfortunately have to like pay. I have to like unfortunately pay to get the things done that I need, instead of like call for friends for help. You know, and I'm still a grown woman. Like, I have, even in terms of like a lover, there's things that I can't give to myself. You know, like, I've got my needs, okay? Luteal phase, ovulation phase comes around, and I'm like, wow! You know, if you know what I'm saying? I don't think I need to say it. We know what I'm saying. Like, I have grown woman needs in that aspect. Sometimes I want cuddles. Sometimes I would love a good makeout session. Sometimes I would love to get the door held open for me and get butterflies like I'm 10. I'm a lover girl. So yeah, like, there's certain things, like, yes, I love my alone time, but of course I know, like, I know this can't be forever. So I hope it's not forever, because yeah, that's what I mean by being lonely. Like, I do get nervous, like, oh fuck. Like, am I the only one that's like sober and celibate and loves God and likes to read books and go to bed at 9 o'clock? I'm not that boring. Like, I want to be spontaneous. I like to jump out of planes. I like to travel last minute. But I'm not gonna do it with people that I feel more alone with than I feel like. I'm not going to put myself in situations where I feel more alone with you or a bunch of people than I do with myself. So until then, I will be with myself, and that will be enough. And I'm proud of that relationship I built with myself, but I'm not like so prideful to the point where I think I don't need anyone, because it's science. People need people. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I believe weed is like a beautiful tool. Like I said, weed has helped me get off of the drugs and alcohol. It's helped me cope. It's helped with so many physical and mental ailments. But I do believe, like, in terms of like spirituality, I do believe it will help you raise your consciousness to a certain extent. And then once you're up here and you keep doing it, I feel like it will drop you right back down below, in my opinion. And my experience, that's what it does to me. Like, it will elevate me, and then it will meow. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm unstable, and everything's coming. I'm like, you know, I stuffed a bunch of shit away and everything's coming out that I thought I processed, that I didn't. I was just smoking it away. So it's a beautiful tool, but keyword tool. Just like money, just like sex, just like success, just like the tarot cards. They're all tools, and essentially I believe we have everything we need inside of ourselves. And so yeah, I feel like that's where I'm at. Like, I'm at a point where I do feel like I have everything I need. I feel like I'm more in tune with myself. My intuition has never gone away, no matter how much I've numbed myself. Even when I was like out my mind, blacked out, I've always been in tune, but I was never able to actually act on it. And that's where I feel like I'm at, to the point where I'm not just in tune, Because the chosen ones know, like, you can try to numb that shit as much as you want. It will never go away. That voice in your head, whatever you call it, your gut feeling, God, the universe, like whatever you want to call it, it will not go away. The difference is now that I'm completely sober and I've built that relationship with myself and I'm rebuilding that trust with myself, I'm actually able to like act on it. Versus before, like I would feel something and I know I need to make that decision, but like I couldn't do it, or I had to put myself through the ringer until it was forced to be done. And now I'm more of in a flow state to where I can act on it. As soon as something doesn't feel good, I'm gonna act on it. As soon as I know I need to make a choice, good or bad, I can act on it. And that's kind of the difference. It's not that I'm necessarily more in tune, it's that I'm actually able to like work, like put it into action and like put it into fruition and alchemize it and transmute it. So yeah, it's no shame to anybody. I will be the first one to tell you, I used to be a junkie, I used to be homeless, I've relapsed millions of times, so it's no shame, but I do believe it's a crutch. I believe it's heavily abused, just like a lot of other plant medicines, and I don't believe that that's how these medicines were put on earth to be used. I don't believe that they were supposed to be used at the club in the underworld. I don't believe that they were supposed to be used for fun. I believe that they were supposed to be used intentionally. I want to do everything with intention as much as I possibly can, from pure intentions for my highest good and not to escape or to cope. So yeah, I'm really proud of myself to how far I've come, because I've never felt more clear in my life, and it's scary. I'm going through so many life changes right now. I've got this huge opportunity, but with this opportunity, I'm having to make a lot of decisions that's like flipping my life upside down. Like, you know, I just moved my home a few months ago. I just moved my business a few months ago. And there's been so much like death, like physically and metaphorically. There has been so much death, and there's like more decisions I'm gonna have to make. There's been so many friends I've had to lose in this process or say goodbye to. And there's gonna be some more. Like I'm still kind of like climbing a ladder, and there's gonna have to be some tough decisions I make. So I need to make sure I'm like clear as possible, and I'm making them with I want to make decisions that are balanced equally between my heart and my mind. I don't want to make decisions emotionally or too logically. Like, I really want to just be in the most balanced state I possibly can be to make the next decisions that I have to make in the next couple weeks, in the next couple months, in the next year. So, and there's like still so many secrets that I can't tell you guys that I want to tell you, but I can't. I can't yet. So, yeah, there's so many reasons as to why I quit weed, but, you know, take away the label, take away the success, take away the music career, take away all of those things. All in all, it's mainly just because I want to keep getting to know me for who I am underneath all this extra shit. And that's what I'm doing. And it's working. Like, it's working. But it all happened when it needed to happen. And like I said, it wasn't really a conscious decision. It was more so like, I think the universe or God kind of just made that decision for me. And I just surrendered to it and was like, okay, it's time to quit smoking weed. Like, it's literally not getting me high. So yeah, I feel the most stable, like mentally, emotionally, I feel the most stable I've ever felt in my life. Physically, I am the most unstable I've ever been in my life. And that's something I want to be transparent about, because a lot of people are looking at like my entrepreneurship and my music career, and you see social media and I'm funny and I'm pretty and I've got all this like growth and success, and you see that. Like, I'm very transparent on the internet. You see my growth and you see the levels I'm climbing, and you see, like, I feel like I literally show people like literally like the alchemization of everything that I do. But physically, like in reality, I'm telling you guys right now, I'm the most unstable I've ever been. every dime that I've made in the like past 5 years of my business and the past year of my business has been dumped into my health and wellness and my music career. And so now I'm being blessed with this huge, massive, life-changing opportunity. And like, in order for me to fully get to that, I feel like I'm gonna have to completely surrender and sacrifice a lot of things. And physically, that's very uncomfortable. And there's days where I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know how I'm gonna pay my rent, or I don't know how I'm going to, you know, because I'm still living in the real world where I have bills to pay and I have bills to pay. Like, I still have to survive. But I'm trusting God and the universe. I'm sticking to the plan. And I'm gonna surrender, and I'm gonna just let everything play out and trust that I'm taken care of. And I'm following the path that my soul wants, even though in this physical reality, it looks like the dumbest shit. There's a lot of, like, if I told you guys what was going on, you would be like, that was stupid, don't do that, that was dumb, that was crazy, because a lot of people would choose survival over their heart and their soul and God and their faith. And I'm 1000% trusting in my faith and in my mission, because I believe if I do that, everything else will be provided for. And that's just like, that's my plan. I'm sticking to it. And it feels like, even to say it, it's uncomfortable to even speak it out loud. Because a lot of people will tell you you're crazy. Like, a lot of people, I don't know a lot of other people that think the way, I don't think I know anyone that is as much of a dreamer as myself. I've never met anyone that's taken the risks I've taken. Like, if you guys knew my whole life story of even like moving to Arizona and starting my business, and one day hopefully you'll get to hear it, whether it's like in my book or in a podcast, like who knows, in an interview, on here, in whatever way my story comes out, if I ever get to tell my story, which I think I will. Like, people would think I'm nuts, but every time I took that risk and I chose the scariest thing and I followed my heart, it paid off. And so I'm gonna keep doing it, and I hope this is like the last time I have to make this much sacrifice to get to that point that I've been seeing in my head. I don't believe God gives you these visions in your head if they weren't true. Like, I just don't believe that God puts things on your heart and in your head for fun. I don't think that they're like, I just don't think it's for fun. I don't believe like it would be put in your head if it couldn't be a reality. And so I've seen this vision since I came out the womb, and I feel like I'm so close. I have like one more jump, and I'm gonna take it. I know one day I'll get to tell my story when the time is right. And I get to tell it from the best perspective I could, because everything always comes full circle. So I'm gonna stay a dreamer. I'm gonna stay a dreamer and take the risk. So yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy. And my body feels uncomfortable even talking about it. But the more I talk about it, it's like the more sure I am, the more my brain and my heart align and are like, you got it, girl. Like, you know, this is everything you worked for. It feels like everything's falling apart, but we all know that after the rain comes the flowers. You have to, like, that is life. You have to give to get. And so here I go. And I feel like giving up the weed months ago has allowed me to be this sure and make the decisions that I'm making with confidence. So yeah, this kind of turned more about, this kind of turned into more about like my life, but it's all relevant. It's all like full circle. It all plays a part. And so I just wanted to like get a little bit more vulnerable with you guys. I didn't even plan to tell you all this and go here. I was really mainly just trying to talk about weed and why I quit weed, but it all is tied together because I wouldn't be able to, I just know for a fact I wouldn't be where I'm at or be able to fluidly speak about these things and take the risk that I'm about to take if I was still like numbing myself with the weed. So yeah, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. If you have any like positive or negative experiences with weed, or you can relate to this of where it healed you and then you realized like it was also becoming a part of the problem, I would love for you to like comment below or share your story, because I don't know anybody else that like feels the way I feel, to where it helped them and then it also became just another crutch like everything else. So if you have a story with that, whether it's with weed or anything else, I would love to hear it. I would love for you to comment. And if you made it this far, thank you guys so much for being here. I don't care if it's a one person that watches these videos. I mainly like am doing this to document my journey, like all these weekly vlogs I'm doing and these story times and talking about this stuff. Like it's honestly mainly for myself. So if it helps someone, if it impacts someone, that's cool. That's beautiful, but none of it's for that. Like the intention is really for me to be able to like look back and see the growth, and I want to document every step of the way so I can just like, I want to be a walking example one day to show people like you can do it, because it's all going to make sense very soon. When I get my flowers, it's all going to make sense. So thanks for being here. I love you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all social medias. And I'll see you next week.